All right, we made it. It's Monday night, and we've been running all day long. We've been up since 6 a.m. We got our cardio in, we trained legs, and we worked for about 14 hours today. But we're still here, and we're kicking ass. So I appreciate you guys being patient and hanging out with the delay. You know, you always have those technical difficulties after you come back from somewhere. You hadn't logged into something in a minute, and takes a little bit, but we're here. So appreciate you guys. Jake needs a Red Bull. Texas Honey, you are right. I'm hyped up on Mountain Dew. Come at you like a spider monkey. Gotta get the Talladega Nights reference in there. Awesome, man. What a wonderful, wonderful week. We were at XRP Vegas last week. We were everywhere last week. Just good to reminisce here for a second before we get into the questions tonight. Appreciate you guys hanging out on a Monday night. We do these every Monday, except last Monday and Wednesday, because we had some other stuff going on. We'll get into that. So Monday, actually ended up flying out to New York last week, where we were on Fintech TV on Tuesday, which was super cool. Got to be on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and we had a gentleman follow us all week long and film everything. So that's going to be a vlog that'll come out for you guys here in the next week. Gentleman I met a couple years ago, he had vlogged some other events that I've been a part of, and actually lined up on our schedule. So he came with us and vlogged the whole week, which was awesome. But you guys will get to see the inside of the New York Stock Exchange, a lot quieter than you might imagine. I had this like vision of what it was like in the 1920s and 1930s, right? With like the calamity that it was, people, picking stocks and trading stocks, and how wild it was on the floor there with the New York, the bell. We got to take a picture with the bell and see that. Just the aura, the ambiance of the stock floor is indescribable. If you guys ever get a chance to go check it out, highly recommend. It is like gated, and they're very particular about who they let in there. You have to be on the list for them to let you in there. Just feel super privileged and blessed to have been able to do that. Just happened to meet the right people, and they think that they thought that I would be a good person to have on Fintech TV. And they might actually have me back on a regular basis, which will be really cool. Try to orchestrate that. Really good questions. I got to talk about, all the stuff that we do and what we're doing for digital assets with Digital Ascension Group, the family office, Digital Wealth Partners, and all the businesses that we have, and how that applies to, investing, what that looks like for digital assets and family offices, high net worth individuals, and how they can think through the space, the conversations that we have on a regular basis. Just a really good interview. Really enjoyed being there. We're also going to be on Wall Street Minute. So Rhonda was nice enough to put me on that. I'm the first person she's going to have on that. That's going to be a segment that is on CNBC, Fox, and Bloomberg, which will also air next week, which just, again, wild, super blessed, and grateful for that. And then we were on the billboard there above the NASDAQ in Times Square in New York, with Digital Ascension Group, me and Max Avery both. So just a wild start to the week. That was awesome. Then we flew from New York over to Vegas for Bitcoin 2025. Had a couple dinners and some meetings there. Really got to enjoy that, meet with a bunch of people there that were in Vegas early in the week. Met with a company called Meanwhile, who's going to be joining us on the June 19th webinar that we're going to put on for Bitcoin. We've talked about XRP. We had another webinar for those that are holding at least 50,000 XRP today. And on that topic, if you are holding 50,000 XRP or more, it is XRP's birthday. So in the spirit of good festivities, we have done the promo for the last time. We're going to run this promo for Digital Wealth Partners. If you have 50,000 XRP or more, we have dropped the minimum to 50,000 XRP. We've had a lot of people wanting institutional custody with a segregated account, insurance on their assets, the ability to add their spouse as a signer, beneficiaries on the accounts, your own advisor, financial advice on your digital assets, the ability to earn returns on your digital assets, and the ability to leverage your digital assets to be able to get some liquidity without losing exposure, right? So we have all of those capabilities, and we're working on a lot more there at Digital Wealth Partners. A lot of the conversations had this week at XRP Vegas and Bitcoin 2025 really furthered those initiatives. Super, super excited to be able to bring those conversations to you guys. Just one of those again. Meanwhile, they currently do whole life insurance policies denominated in Bitcoin. So you're able to fund the policy in Bitcoin. The premiums are paid in Bitcoin, and the death benefit is paid in Bitcoin. Their entire balance sheet is Bitcoin. You guys know how I feel. I think Bitcoin, probably is around in the future, but I do think there's going to be a big move to the downside here in the short term when Tether goes. Stablecoin regulation. We saw oil start to take an uptick today. Feels like the reverse carry trade is about to unwind. A lot of the fun stuff that we've been waiting on, right on the precipice of occurring. But I think that they could help us potentially put that together for XRP. You got a lot of good people in the space doing insurance stuff. You got Coach JV over there with Merlin and his crew. Got to see them at XRP Vegas. Shout out to Johnny and Abs. Appreciate you guys. I think we'll probably get back on the Good Morning Crypto show here in the near future, which would be awesome. Just good group of people. So they had a booth there, and they do IULs and some other stuff. We do those things as well. We have annuities, IULs, whole life. We have a whole insurance company that we've formed in correlation with Digital Wealth Partners to provide those products to our clients. So if you want to, if you have interest in those, there's an interesting way that we structure. When you borrow against your assets, we can fund an annuity with a portion of those proceeds and set that up where it's able to cover the interest-only payments that are going to be due. So you don't have to worry about that. And you can take the rest of that liquidity and do whatever you want with it. Buy other assets, invest it in other things, buy more XRP, which is what we've had a lot of people do. Not financial advice, but just stating what's going on. I think we've done about $10 million in loans against XRP there at Digital Wealth Partners, which is awesome. We've also done an additional $2 million worth of loans with Arch Lending through the Mastermind. If you want to be a part of the Mastermind and you have interest in borrowing against your XRP, if you have your assets in an LLC in Wyoming, you can borrow as little or as much as you want. There's no minimum with Arch Lending if you have your assets held in a Wyoming LLC. All of the benefits, right? We talk about those here. So if you have an interest in that, you can join the Mastermind. Free month for those in Social and Carbon One. If you want to use the code Beyond Broke, it's up here at the top. All capitalized, the number 1, and then MO gets you a free month there in the group. So we were also, Tuesday was awesome. Flew back into Vegas. Got to see a lot of people. Went to dinner. Wednesday was a little bit more low key. Got to go to the pool and hang out for a little while. Made a bunch of calls, talked to a bunch of people, had some other meetings, and then went to dinner that night with the team, which was cool. And then we had our event Wednesday night for the Mastermind. Almost 300 people there at the Foundation Room at Mandalay Bay, overlooking the Strip. 2 free drinks for everybody that came to that. It was awesome. Somebody got I know who it was. I'm not going to say it on here. Appreciate you. You know who you are. They got donuts with my face on them. And they had all of our logos and stuff. It was super cool. Like a fantastic gesture. Got to eat Max's face, on a donut. Donuts were really good too, by the way. Shout out to the gentleman that brought those. Appreciate you on that. Our whole, most of our team was there for Digital Wealth Partners, so everybody got to meet Matt Schneider, our CIO. Most of our advisors. Connor was there. Obviously, you guys probably follow Mickle over there on Twitter and YouTube. It's the Mickle Mafia. What's up? So just fantastic event. Really enjoyed that. Got to spend a lot of time with our clients and everybody else there that's in the Mastermind group, which was great to see everybody. You can't replace in-person stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you get a lot of interaction here on the internet. You get to, interact with people and go back and forth over chat. But it's not the same as shaking somebody's hand, looking them in the eye. And we had a lot of that this week. People there in Vegas wanted to meet with us, shake our hand, make sure that we're the real deal, have conversations. And I just want to give a shout out to all the people that made referrals and introductions this whole week. Just super, super blessed to have all of the clients that we do at Digital Wealth Partners and Digital Family Office and everybody in the mastermind. None of this would be possible without you guys. You are the lifeblood of the XRP family. And yeah, man, I cannot express how grateful I am to the community. So many cool people came up and shook my hand and thanked me. And I don't really have words. Just super humbling and grateful. So blessed every day when I wake up to be able to come on here and interact with you guys and answer questions and just really enjoy this moment with you, because I think things are going to move very quickly here in the near future. And lives are going to change. There's so many people that have aspirations, big aspirations for their family, big aspirations for things that they want to do for their community, or philanthropic focuses to be able to give back in certain things. So many things that they want to do. And on the other side of price appreciation, they're going to be able to accomplish that. We had a couple people over here on TikTok that have asked a couple questions. This person says, is 250K enough to ask for a friend? Didn't get to shake your hand there. Absolutely. We have 50,000 is the minimum as of today, XRP's birthday, to be able to work with us. Obviously, you can set your LLC up if you have somewhere between $50,000 and $80,000 worth of digital assets. But to work with Digital Wealth Partners, this is the last time we're going to lower it down to 50,000 XRP. And the reason, I'd love to run the promo all the time. We've done it like 3 times in 6 months. And my compliance officer told me, he was like, look, man, can't keep running the promo like this. Otherwise, we got to lower the minimums. It can't be all the time that you do this, And I'm like, okay, all right. But I want to help people. I want people to get the ability to work with us if they want to. I want people to be able to get institutional custody, get access to the products and services that we have. And this person says, I have a friend that has 95K XRP. Is that enough? Absolutely is enough. I love this AI filter. I wish it was an AI filter. It's just me. Anyway, super humbling. All the people that want to take photos. It's so weird to be on the other side of this deal. Also, I don't feel like a celebrity. I mean, I love people. I love talking to people. I love helping people. I love interacting with people. But so many people just came up and wanted to take a photo, and they were excited. And I've been on the other side of that, right? So I used to watch Brad and DAI and Zach and all these guys before I ever started doing YouTube. And to meet them, you feel like somebody, you know what I mean? Especially if you watch them all the time. But they don't know who you are, because they don't get to see you. You get to see them. So I've been on the other side of that deal. And so it's just really, I don't know how to explain it. I don't have there's a good word for it, but it doesn't come to mind right now because it's late. I've had a long day. But it's, just super humbling. Just again, thank you guys for, taking the time out of your schedule to watch this and ask good questions and be proactive and want to work with us. Again, none of this would be possible if you guys didn't want to, take advantage of the value and what we're trying to build and help you guys with. So Wednesday night was awesome. Can't say enough about the community. Again, super big shout out to the Beyond Broke Mastermind. I have almost 3,000 members there in the group, which is just mind blowing to me. We do more in-person events than any other XRP community, bar none. We've had 2 months back to back. We had one in Dallas in April, and we had this one in May. We've got a lot of people asking for us to do one in Florida, which would be on the map this year. I don't know what the date for that's going to be, but we'll nail that down. For those over on the East Coast, that'll probably be somewhere around Orlando. I don't think we're going to make it down to Miami, but if you want to come up the state a little bit, probably do something there. And then we also are going to have one in October there in, I believe it's San Francisco, in correlation with SF Fund Week and Coin Alts, which will be the 29th. So it'd probably be a couple days before that, 27th, 28th. We'll do another another group event there for the mastermind a few days before that. So we'll continue to do these, especially post price appreciation. We're going to get into some cool stuff. We are going to lock the mastermind down. If you guys want to participate, lock in your spot now. Again, you can use the code Beyond Broke, all capitalized, the number one, and then MO locks you in. You're in there. You lock in pricing for all the tiers. It's not going to change for you if you're in the mastermind. So if you want to get in before price moves, we are going to lock it down for 30 days, and we're going to be very, very curated on who we invite in and who we allow in post price appreciation. So he says Zach's taller in person. Yeah, Zach's like 6'5", dude. Him and 6'8" Jay are like, they tower over me. What does the mastermind do for a person? That's a great question. So we provide financial education and business resources. We have multiple meetings twice a week in there. You're going to get access to private investments in Carbon One that you're not going to get access to anywhere else, especially if you're not accredited. We're able to put that together. We run 506B Reg D funds out of the mastermind. We're able to provide ways for sophisticated investors to get access to private equity. There's some other things going on right now where things are up in the air where that happened. Ours is regulated. Ours is done the right way. So we're not going to have those issues. So we can involve up to 35 non-accredited people on the deals that we run. And if that's something that you guys are interested in, if you want access to private equity, I can't talk about specific deals that we're currently running. I can tell you in the past, we've done deals for Kraken. We've done deals for Ripple. We've done deals for other interesting companies that are doing graphene. We've done another deal for a quantum company type technology, probably about $10 million invested in different private equity deals that we've run through the group. So if that's interesting to you, if you want access to private deals, Carbon One is the way to go. And again, you're going to get access to financial education and business resources. We have a pre-existing business relationship with you because of the mastermind. And so you meet all the qualifications in order to participate in a Reg D fund. If you want to learn more about that, we wrote a whole book on it. It's called Wealth in Numbers. You can go check it out on Amazon. You can go check it out at Barnes & Noble. And it'll tell you exactly how to raise capital and put together a Reg D deal legally here in the US, all the things that you need to do for compliance. We also built software that does all that for you. We're partnering with some big people. That news is going to come out soon too. So super excited for that. So then Thursday, after the wonderful meetup that we had for the Beyond Broke Mastermind there at the Foundation Room in Vegas, 2 free drinks for everybody. It was a good time. And the donuts. I was on Brad Lee's podcast there in Vegas. So if you guys don't know who Brad Lee is, he does Dropping Bombs. It's a podcast. You may or may not have heard of it. He's got like 3.2 million subscribers across his social media, mainly geared toward entrepreneurs and salespeople, people that are trying to hustle and make some money, improve their lives, hacks and things that you want access to. Super sharp guy, really, really well done. The studio was fantastic. We put out the sizzle reel. Not sure when they're going to have that podcast up, probably this next week as well. Maybe this week. I guess it's Monday now. So we'll let you guys know once that's publicly available and it drops. I went over a lot of stuff there that he had never heard about before. All the crypto things, a lot of things we talk about here that just aren't out there publicly. People aren't talking about XRP. People aren't talking about the reverse carry trade and how it's going to unwind or tether or the stablecoin bill and how all this stuff fits together in a way that's going to culminate to, the crazy adoption of this technology all at once. And the implementation of DLT across the entire financial system and some price appreciation for some specific assets. So be on the lookout for that one. Again, super cool to meet him. The introduction was made to me by Mike Calhoun, who runs Board of Advisors. So shout out to Mike. If you guys don't know who he is, he runs one of the largest, not one of the largest, probably the best mastermind I've ever been a part of. So we have our mastermind, obviously. So ours is really good. I'm pretty partial to that one. But as far as money I've paid to be a part of a mastermind, I've paid $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 to be part of masterminds. And Bradley is cheesy. He's a little bit cheesy. I would agree. He's kind of funny. And he's also kind of a dick too. So he's different strokes for different folks. He was cool though. He was really cool in person. And great to me, and I really do appreciate him having me on the show. But yeah, there's, just it was a whirlwind of a week, and we're just continuing running here. You only get so many fat pitches in your life. And when it's there, you run hard, you sprint as hard as you can. Again, I've been up since 6 a.m. Got my cardio, got my workout in, and I've been working the rest of the time. And we'll continue to do that. I want to make sure that we're able to provide as much value as we possibly can for people while we can do it. And we'll continue to do that even on the other side of price appreciation. And then Friday, we spent all day over there at XRP Las Vegas, which was awesome. I got to see Brad Garlinghouse speak and David Schwartz speak, and many others that were up on stage there. Shout out to Brad and DAI for putting that on. Was a great event there at MGM. I had like 1,200 people show up in the room. This person's asked, my man, how would one contact you and your team to set up a consult for the future? Just go to digitalfamilyoffice.io, and there's a services tab, and you can go to the consults. And happy to book a time with you. Stephanie says, did you see Zach Rector? Zach and I actually did a TikTok live, so you can probably go back and find that on his channel if you want to. A lot of conversation there about how we're able to generate returns on your XRP and all the other services that we're providing. Zach's always been an advocate and a cool friend. He came to one of our mastermind meetups with his group just a little bit after we started, almost 2 years ago. It's been really cool to have his support, and he's been a good friend the whole time. So shout out to Zach Rector. Everybody's got their feelings about different people. Zach's always been cool to me. And I think, happy for him and his media channel and everything that he's been able to put together for his family. And he's obviously on ZBEC. We've had a lot of people ask about ZBEC. He said, people made millions of dollars on ZBEC while people have been holding XRP waiting over here. He's not wrong, but I think there's going to be a reckoning for those that aren't in XRP when the time comes. So yeah, we knocked that out of the park on Friday, and then Saturday we were at the event again, all day again, just meeting and greeting with people, talking to everybody there at XRP Vegas. As soon as they opened, we did a breakout session there, and just blown away. We had more than a tenth of the conference come over to our breakout room. I think we were the only people that did a breakout room the whole time. Had 150 people standing room only in the room that we had. We went over all the stuff that we're able to offer and provide for people. Again, just super blessed and grateful for the opportunity to showcase what we're doing and bring the value that we are to the community. So, and then we flew home. And then that was Sunday. We flew home, and then here we are again Monday. So just a wild week. Brad, I got to be in the front row when Brad was speaking, which was really cool. And to see him, he was happy. He feels much more relieved than I've seen him speak in person multiple times while the SEC was, the case was going on. He looks much more relieved, like everything's done, everything's ready, and he's mounting the rocket for takeoff here. So had a lot of people in the webinar earlier for the 50,000 XRP, which would be up. We've got another webinar Friday if you have over 50,000 XRP and you want to run through everything that we ran through today. And I'm going to switch it up a little bit and talk about a few other things on Friday. That'll all be recorded, and we'll pass that out to everybody that registers. So if you want to check that out, Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. We had the one today at 3:30 p.m. We went all the way till 6 p.m., 2.5 hours of answering questions, going back and forth. We had 1,000 people register for that webinar. We had another 500 people on the waiting list. So that's why we're doing another one Friday. So if you guys want to participate in that, you're more than welcome to. Again, if you're over 50,000 XRP, and I'm not trying to here's the deal on this. So we had the one for over 500,000 XRP, and now we had another one for 50,000 XRP. We'll probably do a smaller one for people with less XRP than that. I'm not trying to cut out the little guy or not talk to the little guy. There's tools and things that are relevant for certain people. And I want to make sure that we're kind of curating the conversation to those individuals that fit that criteria, because a lot of this stuff that we talk about is not going to be relevant for you. And it will be later on if you're continuing to hold your XRP, till it's $100,000 a piece. Sure. 2030, 2032, somewhere in there. Then absolutely, some of this stuff will be relevant for you. But until that happens in the short term here, you're going to want to, your tactics and the way that you proceed are going to be a little bit different than those that have 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, a million XRP. all of those are going to be different thresholds for how people are going to use different tools to make sure that they protect their wealth and grow their wealth over the long term. And we're curating those conversations. So the two specials we have running in tandem here, if you have over 425,000 XRP and you do want to onboard with Digital Wealth Partners, if you get your account funded by June 15th, we're going to grandfather you in at 20 basis points. And people might be like, oh, you're favoring the big guy. I kind of am a little bit. And the reason for that is if we're able to get our AUM up and we're able to cut down the costs, we're able to pass those savings on to everybody else. And when those guys have billions of dollars, like they're going to be able to negotiate 20 basis points anyway, right? If you're over $10 million, which many of you will be soon, you're going to be able to get that 40 basis points anyway, right? We've structured this where anything less than 5 million is 2%. Anything over 5 million to 10 million is 50 basis points or 0.5% on the AUM fees. And anything over 10 million is 40 basis points on the AUM fees. And if you've got 425,000 XRP, then you're going to lock you in at 20 basis points if you want to come on before June 15th. This person says billionaires, you mean trillionaires at 100K with 423,000 XRP. Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know how wealthy these people are going to be. I'm going to give you the fees that you're going to be able to negotiate anyway at that point, right? And the higher the AUM goes, the less cost we have, and we're able to pass that on to our clients. And so there's a method to the madness, and we want to be able to help everybody over the long term. And this is the way that gets us there the fastest, right? So. And then we got the 50,000 special that's also going to run through the next 2 weeks. So if you have your LLC set up and you want on board with Digital Wealth Partners, I've tagged it there on my Twitter on Beyond Broke is my handle, Beyond_Broke there on Twitter. You're more than welcome to go click the link and lock that in. If you've paid the 1,000 and you've paid the 2,000 for your LLC, or you're in the process of setting up your own LLC, don't have to use us. I think if you use us, you're going to save money versus an attorney. We do everything that you would possibly want: virtual office, registered agent, EIN, articles of organization, certificate of good standing, the operating agreement, step-by-step process on how to move your assets in there. And we're going to do the follow-up to make sure that your corporate veil stays intact, so that your LLC in Wyoming will almost act like a trust. The only thing, if somebody sues you, they'll be able to do is issue a charging order against your LLC. They won't be able to get the assets if the corporate veil is done the way it's supposed to be, and you're maintaining your meeting minutes and doing all the stuff you're supposed to. So that's an additional service that we've just added. We haven't raised the rate. It's still $2,000. We always want to add more value for everybody. So all of the existing clients will get that, and all of the new clients will get it as well. So super excited about that. If you want the $2,000, you can go to digitalfamilyoffice.io and use the code 50OFF, 50OFF, DAG LLC. That's 50 off OFF DAG, like Digital Ascension Group LLC. Get you everything you need for your holding company to manage your digital assets in Wyoming for $2,000 end to end, basically done for you. You have to fill out a little bit of paperwork, but good to go. So, man, I've rambled on for a while now. You guys are probably like, you're late, now you're rambling. Let's get into the questions. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Monday night. We're going to run it down here till, you know what the heck, we'll go to 11 o'clock tonight. We'll just make it a 16-hour day. You know, if you're going to run hard. So we'll hang out with you guys. Let's see here. We've got lots of questions. We've got Martin. He says, hola, what's up, man? How do you think the divergence between the good news and the price occurs? Thank you very much for everything. So this is what I want to make clear. And this was interesting. I said this at a couple dinners there in XRP Vegas, and people were like, that actually makes a lot of sense. Ripple's success cannot be correlated to XRP's success. If it is, XRP is a security of Ripple. Okay, Ripple equity is obviously a security of Ripple. XRP's price cannot be correlated to Ripple's success. So all the announcements, all the good stuff, all the benefits, everything that's coming out about Ripple can't cause price appreciation for XRP. And this person says a suppression. Yes, they are absolutely had more flow onto the market just yesterday. They're able to push the price down. And there's a reason for that. They're able to trial the network and make sure it's working the right way, maintain price stability. XRP's price appreciation is going to be predicated on other people using XRP, not Ripple. Okay, it's not going to be correlated to the end of the court case. It's going to be correlated to the reverse carry trade, the back end of the stock market. R3. I put the mug up here all the time. You guys should know it at this point. I don't have the mug with me tonight, but like, that's who's going to use it. That's what's going to cause price appreciation. Project Ion, Smoke put out, if you follow him over there on Twitter, put out a fantastic tweet the other day about R3 and Project Ion settling the back end of the stock market with the DTCC using XRP. That is, and the ETFs, there's a bunch of things that are going to have to culminate, and there's going to be FOMO and a supply shock, and it's going to drive the price of XRP up substantially in a short period of time. When Brad was on stage, he used the analogy of holding a balloon or a beach ball underwater and then letting it go and watching it rocket. Okay? He knows what's coming. He's trying to tell people. He's got NDAs. He can't say like when, or we would all love to know when. I wish I had a crystal ball I could tell you guys, but I feel it. I feel the domino theory that I put out more than a year ago, literally everything is lined up, ready to go. We just need oil to kick this thing off. And we started to see the oil companies' prices appreciate today. Like they know that oil is about to increase in value. So waiting for that news. I don't know what it's going to be, but as soon as that happens and we get the Bank of Japan to raise interest rates, we're off to the races, guys. Like, I don't know how to impress upon you the pace at which things are going to appreciate here. So anyway, back to this question. Ripple's news and the benefits and all the great stuff that's happening for them cannot be correlated to the price, because if it was, XRP would be a security of Ripple. Getting into the super chats here. Honest Aim, how are you, sir? Great to see you at the event. He says, thanks for the koozie. My best advice to my family is your 10 things to do after appreciation. Yeah, we had the video that we put out on that. Thank you. Vegas the king of the subject. Not the king, man. I'm one of you guys. I happen to be in a position to be able to help other people. I got, some money because I was in the right place at the right time, made some good decisions, and then curated all of these people around me. And I want to share that with others and make sure that everybody else has the same opportunity and doesn't have to go through the same trials that I did in order to organize this stuff. So, again, you don't have to work with Digital Ascension Group. You don't have to work with Digital Wealth Partners. Just start curating these professionals around yourself. Make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to have success on the other side of price appreciation. That's a lot of what we talked about on the 50K webinar today. This person says Israel will. Yeah, I feel like that might be the catalyst there. But yeah, again, just be proactive, educate yourself, get financial education. You guys may or may not follow Zena. She's an XRP account on Twitter. She tends to advocate for me, which I really do appreciate. I don't know if she watches these things or not, but she does work for Ripple. She's been at Swell and a few other things that I've attended. And she's very nice to advocate for me and ask good questions, and also share that you need to be educating yourself and putting yourself in a good position to make sure that you're not going to squander this or be a lottery winner on the other side of price appreciation. And again, that's exactly what we talked about on the webinar today. If you do have more than 50,000 XRP, and again, you want to register for the webinar on Friday, we're going to talk about that again, but we're going to add some other things to it. That webinar will be available for anybody that registers. We will give you the link. It's a private video, and I'm happy to share that with you. If you have over, 400,000 XRP and you want to see the video for the $500,000 webinar, the 500,000 XRP webinar, just email us, info@digitalfamilyoffice.io, and we're happy to share that webinar with you as well. Talk about foundations, PPLI, infinite banking, reinsurance, captive insurance, a lot of the stuff that you get into when when you're a multiple centimillionaire, billionaire. Like, those are the types of things that you use. You don't quite have the capital to be able to get access to some of that stuff when you're a bit less than that. But again, those are things that we're going to curate and try to bring down for everybody over the long term. This person says, is 1,000 XRP enough? Enough for what? I don't know. TikTok always, like, I love you guys. Don't get me wrong. I'll say this. The better questions that you ask, the better answers you will get. But we'll hop back over here to YouTube and the super chats and make sure we get these answers. We got Jeff. What's up, man? He says, I just noticed that DWP lowered entrance to 50K XRP for the next 2 weeks. Is this true? Yes, sir, it sure is. It's XRP's birthday. It's the last time we will run this special. So if it's something that you are interested in, we would love to work with you. Happy to share the agreements, let you vet it, make sure that you're comfortable. If you want to move in 50K and then wait to move the rest of it in, we understand, and I said this on the webinar earlier, we've had multiple clients over the years that we've been around, because we've been providing custody for years for people at this point. We first worked with standard custody, never lost any XRP during that whole deal with Ripple. We held there and provided institutional grade custody for our clients there. And then we migrated over to Anchorage, which is where BlackRock is holding their digital assets. So if that tells you anything about how secure Anchorage is, they're the only federally chartered bank regulated by the OCC. That's our custodian that we partner with at Digital Wealth Partners. Couldn't speak more highly of them. All the guys over there, Joe Medioli, Ben Hearn, Rafa, and everybody else, Nate, they're awesome. And, just super excited to be able to work with them to curate these services for our clients. They have $100 million worth of insurance on all the accounts there at Anchorage through Lloyd's of London. We have multiple other insurers. And if you, need, hopefully we'll have a lot of people that need species insurance that are over that 100 million. We'll be able to add additional insurance to your accounts. We've already talked to the providers on that. So yeah, 50,000 XRP. Hopefully we're at $50 million worth of XRP in the near future. You definitely qualify for sure. Group one, Gavin, what's up, man? He says, thanks for the webinar, legend. Man, the legend deal. Just to confirm, if your assets are moved over and are in self-managed super fund, will we be able to earn returns immediately? To be honest with you, I'm not sure if a self-managed super fund is a qualified account or not. They're in Australia. I don't know if it's like a 401k. I think it is. I think it's qualified capital. We are onboarding a partner right now. We're gonna be able to run proprietary algorithms on the wallets to be able to generate returns in your account in the next 30 to 60 days, which is gonna be awesome. So we will be the only people out there that are able to generate returns inside qualified accounts. So if you have an IRA, a Roth IRA, a self-directed IRA, a traditional IRA, whatever it is, if it's holding digital assets in your IRA account or your self-managed super fund, we will be able to generate returns on those assets in the next 30 to 60 days with that partner. And again, as soon as these things are finalized, we will be telling you about them. Believe me, we got to meet with a lot of these people and lock stuff down in Vegas. I've got to send payment and sign a piece of paper, and we're off to go on that deal. So that you guys will be the first. Well, the mastermind will be the first to know. Just so you guys are aware, if you're in the mastermind, you're going to be the absolute first to know when we're able to launch products and provide services to people. And then obviously we'll roll it out here on the lives for you guys as well. Let's see here. We got Michael Motorcycle. What's up, man? He says, hey, Jake, enjoy your shows. Thank you, man. Appreciate the kind words. He said, I have a question. Do you think it's possible that XRP can be pegged to gold? I don't, and I'll explain why. If so, does that change your price prediction for XRP for the next 5-10 years? I think oil will be pegged to gold in a specific ratio. And then all the other currencies will be pegged to gold in a specific ratio, or oil. Like that ratio and how that's pegged will set the currency for everybody else. And depending on what resource you hold or how much XRP you hold, you'll be able to back your sovereign currency with one of those three or all three in whatever ratio is required to back your sovereign currency. However, if you pegged it to gold, it doesn't allow for the expansion of the price of XRP. It'll be quasi pegged to gold because I'm confident that gold will end up on the XRPL for trading. Commodities at scale, I think, end up on the XRPL. Not so sure about stocks. I think it'll settle the back end of the stock market, but I don't know that they're going to tokenize the stock market on the XRPL. Okay. And I know that's like, well, how does that work? The payments between the clearinghouse and the brokers could absolutely move over the XRPL to settle those transactions, while the trading of the stocks themselves could be tokenized on HBAR or Polymath or one of these other networks for the accounting and the ability to swap between them. Because there's smart contract capability and security stuff on those other networks. They're not as good as at the payments at scale as XRP is. So again, we're moving to a multi-chain world where these things are interoperable. You've seen Chainlink and CCPI integrated with Swift, along with HBAR and XRP and the XRPL. Also, I made a whole video about how all three could be used by Swift to upgrade their system. This person's asked, do I like ZBEC? ZBEC's a great idea. Streaming payments for payroll is great, but it's not going to be like... The market cap for that just isn't, it's a retail facing product. It's not institutional payments between enterprises and cross-border payments, which is trillions of dollars a year. Like, it's a good use case, don't get me wrong. It just doesn't have the upside that a lot of these other opportunities do. In the short term, cool, people have made money. It's not anything that I own. But yeah, I don't think that XRP is going to be pegged to gold. So in the IMF's paper in 2014, they wrote about an exchange rate peg, and the abbreviation that they put in that paper was XRP. When XRP was minted, it was not XRP. It was actually called XNS. And if you look at my tweet today, I called it Zinni. And that was their nickname for it back in the day when Arthur Brito minted XRP. The first 100 billion were minted 13 years ago today, which is pretty cool. So it originally was XNS, and then it was gifted to Ripple. They rebranded it to Ripples and Drops. And then when that paper came out from the IMF for the exchange rate peg, they rebranded to XRP in 2014, 2015, around the same time as the FinCEN case when they designated it a currency. So I think it will be the exchange rate peg. I think it'll be a tier one asset, but I do not think it'll be pegged to gold because it's going to need to continue to expand in value over time as more and more value flows over the network. And if it's pegged to something, it limits its growth. We got Johnny Lakers. What's up, man? Good to see you. He says, no question. Just thank you for being you and your work for the hard group, your group of hardworking individuals. Absolutely, man. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. And again, like my team, I cannot thank my team enough. We got people sending emails right now, working at 10 p.m. at night. I always try to lead by example. I'm running as hard as I can all the time, but my team, man, they crushed it last week. They crush it every single week. They work just as hard as I do. Some of them harder. Max Avery, shout out to Max Avery. He's working sun up to sundown every single day, just like I am. Would not be where I am without him. We got Max Kahn, we got Connor, we got Tim, we got Tom, we got Aaron, we got Jonathan, we got Fred. We got 25 employees at this point. We just brought on a bunch of interns, which is super cool. First internship for college people. You get to work at the only crypto RIA in the world. Only crypto. We're about to bring on a Schwab account here in the near future to be able to manage traditional assets. But right now, we are only crypto, which is very unique. There is no other financial advisor in the world that provides you financial advice directly on your digital assets and only digital assets. And that's digitalwealthpartners.net if you guys want to go check it out. And if you want to onboard, again, need your LLC in place. So you want to go over to digitalfamilyoffice.io, or you can just go to the contact us form there at digitalwealthpartners.net and they'll direct you to the LLC if you don't have one. But digitalwealthpartners.net, fill out the contact us form. And we work with, so this person's asked if we work with people all over the world. We do. We have clients great from Holland, very cool. UK, Dubai, Japan, Southeast Asia and Singapore. We got Korea, we've got Austria, we've got Canada, we've got US, obviously. I would say 75, 80% of our clients are US, and then we have 25, 30% of our clients are international, South America, all over the world. We work with people. As long as you have your assets in an entity, we can work with you. Kevin George, what's up, man? He says, I know you can't give financial advice, But there's always a but. If you had 100K in a Chase stock account, which has slowed, painful returns, would you throw it all at XRP? I don't know. I can tell you what I've done, and I can tell you what some of our clients have done. Can't disclose like who and what, but we have some people that have taken their traditional assets in their stock account and allocated that toward XXRP, which is a leveraged ETF on XRP. It's a 2 times leveraged XRP ETF, and they're up on that position already. But when it moves, man, you're going to see some crazy returns on that one. But you won't have the XRP itself. If you want the XRP itself, which I think is going to be a better play, because again, I don't think this asset's going to be available forever. I think on the other side of the supply shock, it's going to be very rare for people to be able to make an allocation to XRP and buy XRP. I think it's going to be OTC only. And I think there's going to be a significant premium when you trade XRP if somebody's going to be willing to buy it from you, like a 3 times the amount that it actually trades at. So, it's up to you. I think it's going to be a tier 1 asset in the banking system. We're already talking to people that are willing to lend against it at really good rates. Not public yet. Can't talk about who it is, but you know who they are, which is pretty cool. And super excited to bring that to market. We're going to be the only people with that. Caught their attention because we've got 150 million XRP under management at Digital Wealth Partners and only growing by the day. I think, man, I just am blown away by people's outreach and willingness to work with us. But we've done this the right way. So I don't think I should be surprised, but like, it's still surprising. We're an SEC registered RIA. We're here in the US. You have full recourse against us. We're working with Anchorage. We're domestic. We're onshore. And I've structured this the way that I would want it done. Segregated accounts, insured, bankruptcy remote. You are still the signer on your account. You tell us what to do with the digital assets, and we do it. We just provide advisory on it and all the services and products that we're able to curate for you. The institutional products that we brought to market, the funds that we launched to begin with are full. They're fully allocated. $80 million worth of XRP in the funds that should generate around 3%. It's what we're targeting over this quarter. Could be more. We're already at about 2.5% on the income fund that's going to get paid out to people in July. The first month was about 1%. This last month was about 1.5% on the income fund. And then we're targeting again, hopefully another 1% this month that will pay out to people in cash in their accounts at Anchorage that they will be able to take and put in their pocket. So actual returns on your XRP being generated for the first time ever in a regulated manner, and you're never having to give up your asset. It stays in institutional custody. No counterparty risk, like just ridiculous. This person asked what percent. We're targeting somewhere between 10 and 20% a year on the XRP so there is some risk on a risk curve. Somewhere between one, like let's say 1 is no risk, completely no risk. 10 is all the risk in the world. I would say we're at like a 1.7, 1.8 on the risk. So there is some risk, right? The risk is that these sub-advisors that have proven track records for the past 6 years lose money on a quarter, which has never happened before. It's possible. It's never happened. They have really good track records. They've always produced somewhere between 20 and 40% a year. We're we think that we're going to be able to do half of that because of the way we've structured this to be able to mitigate risk of loss, which I'm still happy with. If we're able to make 20 or 20% on your XRP every year, and it's that level of risk, I'm over the moon excited. And in the near future, we're going to have no risk because of some of the partnerships we're curating. So back to your question, Kevin, I ramble on. I'm sorry. I like squirrel and go off on stuff. But yeah, I can't give you financial advice. I don't own any stocks. I only own XRP. If that tells you anything, and I bought more today. So you do you with your money. But I can tell you, I'll say this. I don't think there's ever going to be another asset that is an opportunity like XRP. And that's why my money's there and I don't have anything else. I take that back. I did buy some hash, and I told you guys that, about like $2,000 worth of hash a couple months ago. It wasn't even that long, but about a month ago on Figure Markets. And that's because there's $225 million worth of insurance policies tokenized on Provenance Network. Hash is their token. and that is a $8.21 trillion market cap, the total addressable market for that. So it's 0.0027% of that entire market that's been tokenized. I think there's an opportunity there that's similar to the price appreciation on XRP if you're willing to wait for the adoption. Do I know that it's going to be hash that gets it? No, I have no idea. But it's worth a couple grand to throw it at if it's going to be 1,000x, like I think XRP is. Let's see here. We've got HF100 Blue. They say, hey, Jake, if one has 50,000 XRP and creates an LLC, would it earn interest? Would the LLC allow for the benefits besides earning interest? What would the benefits they be? And are there other fees? Yeah, I'll break it all down for you, brother. So an LLC provides you a lot of benefits. You get to be able to mitigate taxes on the way that you spend the income. Let's say you went to XRP Vegas this last week and you had your LLC. You get to write off that whole trip, the plane ride, the food, the tickets, the hotel, all of it is a write-off against your income. If you did that in your personal name, sorry about your bad luck. You're still paying taxes on all that money. You also, any other educational resources, if you had a vehicle, you need at least one vehicle that you use for your personal stuff. But if you bought an additional vehicle over 6,000 pounds, you could use Section 179 of the tax code, be able to offset a lot of that because you're traveling to look at your investments. These people over here on TikTok would like to know the websites. So again, the websites are digitalfamilyoffice.io. That's for the LLC. You can go there to the services page and you can lock that in. $2,000. If you want the $2,000 offer, you're going to have to put in a code there on digitalfamilyoffice.io. And it is 50 OFF, like off, DAG, like Digital Ascension Group, LLC. That gets you everything you need for the LLC for $2,000. And then if you want to work with Digital Wealth Partners for the institutional custody and all the other cool stuff that we provide, it's at digitalwealthpartners.net, and you just go to the contact us form. So again, the LLC is going to provide you a lot of benefits to be able to mitigate taxes. It's going to protect your assets in the case of a lawsuit. Again, if you're working with us, we're going to be able to protect the corporate veil and make sure things are in place so that you can only get charging orders issued against you. Very similar to the state of Nevada. It almost acts like a trust with your assets in the LLC, which is awesome. And it doesn't have to be seasoned in like you normally do with a trust. It takes 2 years to season in creditor protection in a trust. In addition to that, you're going to have beneficiaries and people that will inherit it and be able to manage the LLC if something happens to you. So that equity will pass. You're still going to have to go through probate if you don't have it in a trust. But if you have somebody listed on there that's the manager, like your spouse, that'll come in and manage it, good to go. It does need to be a single member LLC, and that's how we set it up. So most states have spousal rights. You're not going to list your spouse on there. A lot of people want to go 50-50. I think that that's great. Just list your spouse as a manager, and we can add her as a signer or him as a signer on the accounts. It's very simple. That way we don't have tax implications. The reason for that is when you move the assets in there, if you do a partnership, you're going to have a step up in basis, and you're going to have a taxable event, especially if you bought the XRP at like 50 cents and now it's $2. There's going to be a step up, and you're going to have to pay the taxes on the difference there when you contribute to a partnership. So that's why we do single member. And again, we've worked through all this. We've done it for 3 years now, helping people establish these and make sure it's done the right way. So again, you can do it yourself. I'm going to tell you how. But if you want to work with an attorney to do it, they're going to charge you $1,800 to $2,500 just for the operating agreement. They're still going to form the entity. It's going to be like $3,000, $3,500 if you work with an attorney, or you can just work with us and do it for $2,000. Or you can go to LegalZoom and roll the dice. Up to you. As long as you have the LLC, we'll work with you, but I would recommend seeking legal counsel or working with us most of the time. The other stuff that you can do on the other side of price appreciation, let's say your assets go to $50 million. You got 50,000 XRP goes to $1,000. That's 50 mil. Is that right? Is that the right math? Maybe it's $100. I don't know. One of the two. It's late. I'm not going to try to do the math. I messed up on another video and people jumped my ass about it. So I'm not going to try to do the math. You got $50 million in XRP. Okay. You want to gift that out of your estate. Between you and your spouse, you get $28 million that you can gift over your lifetime. It's like 27 and some change. It's real close to 28. It's It's 13.99 million this year, the highest it's ever been for the gift tax threshold here in the U.S. Between you and your spouse, you can gift that out of your taxable estate over your lifetime into the trust. But the LLC allows you to squeeze that value down. And the way you can do that is you gift small portions of equity to other people, like your children or your friends or somebody you want to take care of. And now you have minority owners on the cap table. And when you go get a 409 valuation done, you get a reduction in valuation of somewhere between 25 and 35% most of the time. So now, even though your assets are worth 50 million in the LLC itself is only worth like 30 to 35 million. So now you can gift a lot more of the assets out of your taxable estate into the trust if you choose to do so. And then you can set up insurance policies. That's the other piece of this. So key employee insurance. If you have your assets in your personal name, you're not a key employee. There's no like insurable interest for the corporation if it's in your personal name. But if you have it in an LLC, there is, because you are the manager. And if you're not there, then it does not run. So you need that if you want to set up a whole life insurance policy or PPLI. There's just I can go on and on and on about reasons you would want to set up an LLC and put your assets in there to be able to manage them, segregate risk and liability, tax benefits, many, many things that we know about, we will help you with. So the fees, it's $2,000 if you use the code, again, digitalfamilyoffice.io, go to the services page, use the code 50OFF, 50OFF, DAG-LLC, get you everything all in on the LLC. You'll win over, $2,000. To onboard with Digital Wealth Partners is $1,000. If I could waive the onboarding fee, I would love to do it. There was a guy over the weekend. He was like, "You're going to get the AUM fees. Like, why are you charging me this upfront fee?" If I could not do it, I would. Believe me. We have KYC, we have compliance. I have other red tape. I have partners that they have to go through stuff. They charge us. We don't make money on that. Like, we do it to be able to set up the accounts for people and make sure that it's done the right way. Be able to work with our partners and provide the services that we have. And then we do have AUM fees. So, just like any other wealth manager, and I hate when people rake you for fees and don't make you any money. Okay. I said I would never do that, and we're not going to. If it's less than 5 million, we do 2%. The things that we're putting in place right now will be able to generate everyone more than 2% on their money in the very near future, 30 to 60 days, because of the partnerships that we're curating and stuff that we're creating right now, which is just awesome. Super excited about it. So we'll be able to cover fees in the next 30 to 60 days. We have the funds to be able to generate higher returns for people that are accredited. They can take a little bit more risk, right? Like, that's the whole point of being accredited. And those will be somewhere between 10 and 20% is what we're targeting. And we'll continue to roll those out. And the ones that we're rolling out here we're going to stagger the rest of these. So originally we launched the Growth and Income Fund together. Those are 506Cs. So, only accredited can participate. The ones that we're rolling out are going to stagger them for monthly income. So if you're accredited, you'll be able to participate in all three, and you'll end up having monthly checks come to you. So we're going to do July, August, September. So if you wanted to allocate $1 million and you put 333 in each one of the funds each month, then come Q4, you'll be getting a check every single month because they pay out quarterly, right? So we've really thought through this on ways to be able to generate significant returns for people with very low risk. Still some risk. It's not risk-free, but low risk. And we want to make sure that we're providing as much value as we can. We don't make another dime. We don't charge any performance on any of this stuff until we generate 8% on your total portfolio. Okay. So let's say you put 50% over here at, something that produced 3 or 4%, and then the rest of your portfolio made 10%. You're probably not even going to make that 8% on your total portfolio to charge you anything additional. It's just going to be the AUM fee. And if you're over $10 million, that's 40 basis points. If you're over 425,000 XRP, it's 20 basis points. And some people, obviously we want to generate good returns for people, but at the same time, some people are late in life. They're low risk tolerance. They have a shorter time horizon. They just want sustainable returns on stuff. And we are a fiduciary. We're going to make sure that we do what's in your best interest. for our clients. So all of our guys are trained up on that. They get paid off the AUM fee. They don't get paid on performance. They get a piece of the AUM fee is there, and that's for managing the clients and making sure they're doing a good job and protecting you. So, and not, sometimes people don't want to be protected. They're like, I'm rolling the dice. And we're like, okay, we advise you not to, but you're doing it anyway. And it's your decision at the end of the day. So I've rambled on a bunch here, but hopefully that answered your question, man. I appreciate the super chat. We got Ron. What's up, Ron? He says, hey, Jake, got my Wyoming LLC. Awesome. Got my LLC set up, look to borrow against my XRP in the near future. Yeah, absolutely, man. So we have Arch, we have Maple Finance, Arch Lending you can get access to in the Mastermind, and you can also get access through DWP. If you're in Carbon One in the Mastermind, we have an exclusive deal with Arch Lending. So if you have lower amounts of XRP, but you do have, an LLC, there's no minimum, you can borrow against it, and those assets are held at Anchorage with Arch, which is pretty cool. And then if you are a DWP client, you have to use DWP. And they will help you, structure that with Arch or Maple or whatever other liquidity provider is going to be best for you, best rate, best terms, all that stuff inside Anchorage in your account. Man, about already been on about an hour, but we're going to hang out till 11 o'clock, like I told you guys. This person says, if there are dark pools, will there need to be a blending of the two to be legal? You don't understand the question. Wayne, what's up with the super chat? He says, great meeting with you and DWP family in Vegas. Awesome, man. Good to see you. Looking forward to the future doing business with like-minded genius. Got the pictures of the donuts. Yeah, that was awesome, dude. So crazy. People do cool stuff. Again, super blessed to just be part of the community and have you guys part of the mastermind. I'm just blown away by how cool people are. We got Neil. What's up, Neil? He says, what's up, Jake? Japan 10-year sitting at the 1.5 over a week now. How long before the crash? This much. Thanks for everything that you do. You're changing lives. Keep being awesome. Thanks, man. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, we're in the danger zone. The danger zone there in Japan, over 1.5. Close to 1.6. It was at 1.58 at one point, and they pulled it back down a little bit. It's ready. They're ready. Things are about to go. I'm waiting on oil. As soon as you see oil kick off, it's game time. Like everything is lined up that I've been talking about for over a year now. 15 months I've been talking about this stuff, harping on it. And sometimes you're a little early. And that's okay. I'm good with being a little early. I'd rather be a little bit early than a minute late. So, yeah, we're in the danger zone and things are ready here. I feel like this month is going to be a good month. We'll put our tinfoil hat on for a moment, just for you guys. You may know the account Variable Guy. I take everything with a grain of salt, but he did post the Muna and the Juna and the Singa. I love to sing about the Springer. So I don't know, man. The owl says June in the song. Maybe we're here. We'll see. But like I said, everything's lined up for it. And Brad was talking about holding that ball down underneath the water and letting it go on stage. I can't tell you, but he can tell you what he can. Fly fishing, Jeremy. What's up, man? He says, Jake, it was great meeting you in person on Wednesday. It's awesome, man. Good to see you. He says, seeing you again at 68J's meetup. Thanks for taking time for all of us. For everyone listening, I highly recommend the Beyond Broke Mastermind. Enjoy the silver. Yeah, dude. Shout out to you guys. You didn't think I kept it, did you? Here it is. He's got the JC of XRP 589 on the back here. Appreciate you on that, brother. This is an ounce of silver. I don't know if people reach out to you and get silver or not. This was super cool. Very cool gift, and I really do appreciate it. I like silver. I like gold. I did sell all my gold at 3,400 because I think it's going to 2,000, and I'll buy it back there when it does. We got Hunter. What's up, man? He says, can't speak for everyone, but much appreciate what you do for people to be successful and the opportunities you deliver for us to take part in. Thank you, man. this is all stuff that I wanted for myself and my XRP and my family. And I didn't want to wait on the banks. When we started talking to the banks and I figured out like they weren't anywhere close to ready, I was like, what do you mean you guys don't have segregated accounts in custody for retail? And they're like, why do we need that? We're working on Bitcoin ETFs and structured products and all this other stuff that makes us way more money. Why do we care about retail? And I was like, because these people are going to have a lot of money. Like, what do you mean? And they didn't care. They don't see the opportunity. So you know what? We're going to care. I care about the XRP community. I care about the XRP family. And we made it happen, man. I'm so blessed to have the team that I do and the resources that we've been able to aggregate and what we've been able to put together over the last, 2-3 years here. It's really special. I'm really proud of it. You probably tell, I'm excited about it. I get on here and I get excited about it, but yeah, man, just I'm pumped that people aren't going to have to sell their XRP if they don't want to. They'll have ways to generate returns on it. They'll have ways to be able to borrow against it. They'll be able to hold it and have their spouse on there and their beneficiaries and set up trusts and make sure all this is done the right way. And we know how to do it with digital assets. We have all the professionals to be able to do it. So thank you for the kind words and super great seeing you, man. We got Maris. They say, if go with consensus data in Australia, how can we get to work with you guys to constantly make passive income with XRP and borrow against it? So they just do CPA accounting and estate planning. So they do all of that there in Australia. We do the wealth management. So once you structure the entities, they'll help you maintain the entities and set them up and like do all the accounting and pay your taxes and do everything the right way. But we will still be able to custody your assets and be able to generate returns on them and do all the fun stuff that you want, right? But we require that the assets are in a self-managed super fund or a family trust or a corporation there in Australia. So had some people say they didn't get the best experience with David. I got to reach out to him and make sure that he's taking care of people. But that's been consistent there in Australia. I don't know what the deal is. Reach out, talk to Consensus. It's only been one person that's mentioned they had a poor experience. Everybody else has been cool, but I don't like that. I don't want to hear that somebody charged you for an appointment and then didn't get back to you. That irks me. And people miss stuff. We miss stuff, right? There's always miscommunication or something happens or something, I got to try to give people the benefit of the doubt, even my own guys, stuff happens. But at the same time, we want to make sure the customer experience is the best that we possibly can, set a high bar and standard for everything that we do, and make sure that our partners are doing the same thing. So give me feedback. If work with other people that I recommend. It's been hard to source people across the world without going to all these places and like curating meetings. A lot of people have reached out to us, which has been cool. We've had enough clients talk to other people and they're like, hey, we had like 5 people tell us that we should be working with you. And so they reach out to us, which is awesome. And that's the cool part about being global and working with people all over the world. Group 1 Gavin says, can you touch on current M2 money supply? Oh man, we can talk about that for a long time. So M2 money supply is at an all-time high globally. But velocity of money is also at an all-time low. So people are hoarding cash. You see Warren Buffett sitting $383 billion on the sidelines. You have billionaires doing the same thing, setting their money on the sidelines in cash, in treasuries, holding, waiting for the inevitable pullback that's coming with the reverse carry trade. And then they're going to deploy. Believe me, they're going to dive in on gold and everything else because it's going to be across the market that things collapse. Nothing is not going to be affected. We're going to have a credit event like never seen. ICE 9, crippling deal. And they're going to pull ourselves out with XRP and increase the velocity of money. And they'll be able to reduce money supply on the other side of that because the velocity of money will spike. And if you knew that there was going to be a huge deflationary event because of the advent of this technology and the culmination of blockchain and AI, then you would front run M2. Like it makes a ton of sense that you would drive the M2 money supply significantly higher to front run a deflationary event. They know what's going on. They know what they're going to do, and they know how to take advantage of the opportunity. And that's what's happening. So just wait; it'll be reduced to be able to offset, the velocity of money as it picks up. Dennis, he says, tried to hook up on Wednesday, but didn't see you. Mickle. Well, I'm glad you got to catch Mickle. Yeah, Wednesday. Or was that Wednesday? Wednesday was at the pool a little bit. And then as long as you got to see Mickle, he probably ran everything down for you, which was good. Let's see. Ripple says, it was great to meet and talk to you and the rest of the team in Las Vegas. Very cool, man. Glad to see you. I'm truly grateful for your patience with all of my questions during the onboarding process. I'm dense. Not dense, dude. There's no bad questions. The only bad question is the one you don't ask, because everybody has those same questions. They're a team to be proud of. I appreciate that, man. They're awesome. They make sure that people feel special and their hand gets held and they get taken care of. We pride ourselves in customer service. We want to make sure that good people get good service, and we set a standard in the industry for that. Again, sometimes things fall through the crack, but I would say 97, 98% of everybody we've ever worked with has had a fantastic experience. And those that haven't, maybe we're having a bad day too. Sometimes it's on the other side. Sometimes other people are just having a bad day and they get mad, and that's okay too, you know. Not always perfect, but we do our best. Ishmael says, thanks for your dedication. Thank you, man. I try to hustle and make sure we're on top of it. Get a long session and here again. Any thoughts on Vico Power 10 million XRP Treasury working with Bitco? Yeah, I saw that announcement today, which is really cool. They made that acquisition of OTC. I think you're going to see a lot of companies start to buy up XRP and put it on their balance sheet. You've already started to see some of these other ones do it. I think that's going to become a trend. And again, supply shock. Like people talk about Bitcoin and all these companies putting it on their balance sheet. XRP is going to be the exact same way. That was big news. Big acquisition of a large amount of XRP. We got Amani. What's up, man? He says, Jake, the brain, what's up? Thanks for the Hugo interview. Absolutely, man. I really enjoyed the interview with Hugo. He says, what's your perspective now after the interview with Flare and F Assets? Are you more bullish, or does it still need more booty to make it more attractive? I like what Hugo's doing. I think Flare is going to be used. He's definitely going after institutions. Does he care about retail? Not a whole lot. Obviously, they have Bifrost Wallet, and they've done a lot of things to kind of trial things with retail in order to get institutional adoption of F Assets and a lot of stuff that they're working on. I think this, I'm going to tell y'all what I really think, because I like to be just open and honest with y'all. I think we're in a position to be the conduit for most of retail, which is really cool, to be able to access all these institutional opportunities. He gave me the other custodians that he's partnering with here in the U.S. to be able to provide those services at scale to basically retail clients and other institutions and other parties through institutional custody. And that's the way everything's going to head. Like, you're going to need to be quantum proof. You're going to need all of these other additional services and connections to be able to get the integrations and security that you're going to want. Because these smart contracts, like, they're great. They're great for decentralized finance. But if somebody hacks it, you need Nexus insurance on it. You need other stuff on it. This person says Root Network. I think Futureverse is really interesting. It's not something that we've looked at, but it's definitely something that is on the roadmap, probably 2026 for us. I think the metaverse is going to be a little bit later on. But yeah, super bullish on Flare, super bullish on F Assets. One of our members, the same guy that got us the donuts, has a really cool ARB strategy between Flare and XRP. I think it's going to work out for him really well. He's a super sharp guy. So shout out to him. I'm not going to say his name on here because I don't want to drive people to him. But I want to see how that works. And it's definitely something we might, leverage as we start to work with that network. We have a Healthy Tech 25. They say, if invested in stocks through a regular brokerage, how much of a loss are we going to see during Japan carry trade, quick rebound? Possibly also, if money is in a money market fund, not MM account, is that money at high risk with the Japanese carry trade? Depends whether it's allocated and how they've distributed that and what the diversification and the risk profile they have. If it's treasuries, you're probably going to be okay. Treasuries are going to take a dive, but they're going to recover very quickly because of the stablecoin bill. As they pass that, there's going to be like $2.3 trillion worth of demand here in the US for stable coins is what they're projecting. And that happens to be just enough to basically eat up all of the international debt that's going to flow onto the market between Japan and the BRICS nations. Who would have thought? So I think treasuries are going to be fine. So if your money market and other stuff is allocated to bonds and treasuries and low risk stuff, I think it's going to be fine. The stock market, I think, is going to see a rebound. I think it's going to be a sharp, to the downside and hit limit down, and they'll lock it because there'll be a credit crisis. And then they'll, kick on the back end settlement for the stock market between clearinghouses and brokers. They'll be able to de-risk from those positions immediately and jumpstart the economy because of the velocity of money. And it might take 2 or 3 days, but I think it'll rebound very quickly in that period of time once they kick that on. So it's going to be a buying opportunity if you are able to get, cash in there when that happens. I definitely am looking to be able to deploy some capital when that happens. Probably run the same strategy that I did before. So if you guys don't know, the way that I ended up making money in 2021 was I had some money set on the sideline, saving for a home for my wife and I, which we still haven't bought, and she gives me hell about. And I rolled into the market when the market fell in 20 and bought Facebook, Amazon, Google, Tesla. Like stuff that were blue chips. I thought they were going to rebound quickly. FANG stocks, I think, are going to rebound pretty well when this happens. I could be wrong. I don't have a crystal ball, but oh, you're wonderful. Thank you. You're good. Thank you. A wonderful wife. Everybody was like, the tea lady in Vegas. Her name is Mandy. She's wonderful. I love her to death. You can call her by her name. She does a lot of the follow-up on social media. So if you guys message me on social media, you might be talking to my wife. You might be talking to me, but most of the time you're probably talking to my wife. So be nice. Be nice. She always is wonderful and brings me some tea, which I really do appreciate. Oh, she gave me a heart spoon. Look at that. She's so sweet. All right. Let's see here. Hopefully that answers your question, man. I think you're going to be okay if your money market's allocated to treasuries and bonds. If it's in some high-risk stocks and has, some volatility there, you could absolutely see some downside. We got Buzz, Dallas Buzz. Thoughts on reporting, advising the reverse carry trade at 50-60% over. Analysts at JP Morgan estimate the unwind of the carry trade. It was only 50 or 60% complete. I think it was less than that. I think people re-levered. Like, that's the other wild thing to me is, like, after it happened and they were like, oh, we're going to pause rates, people borrowed more. So it's tens of trillions of dollars. I think we saw about 2 trillion unwind, and 2 trillion was 13% down in the stock market in one day. So go ahead and 5x that is what I think we're going to see in the stock market when it all unwinds. But I think they'll limit down. I think there'll be a credit crisis and they'll lock it when it comes down to it. So maybe 50, 60% down in the stock market in a single day, which is, and look at crypto. Crypto doesn't lock. There's no locking on trading crypto. So that's why I think Bitcoin's going to have a hell of a time with Tether and everything else that transpires in that market. And I think XRP is going to be to the upside while everything else is burning. I think it's going to be a wild show for people to watch. And that's why I'm positioned where I am. I could be wrong. Maybe it goes down with everything else, but pretty confident that it's going to go the other direction because they're going to need it. They're going to have to make it go the other direction. Charlie says, hey, Jake, you're awesome, bro. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Glad I found you in the community. Awesome to have you in the mastermind. What do you know that you can't say about the BlackRock ETF or possible interest in said opportunity? That I can't say. I have some NDAs, man. I can't talk about. I know that they're holding their assets at standard custody, or sorry, not standard custody, but Anchorage. They're holding their assets at Anchorage, just like we are. And they're interested in some of the things that we're looking at for the DRs that we created against XRP, depository receipts. Yeah, I don't have like a date on when they're going to issue. I know there was a rumor that it was supposed to happen today. I'll say this, they still have that trust sitting in the background there in Delaware that they could absolutely use and file their S1 and go. They don't have to wait like everybody else will. Like if Fidelity or Vanguard or one of those other ones does, they're going to have to file the trust and then go through filing the S1 and a bunch of stuff. Whereas BlackRock already has the trust set up because they did it in 23, which everybody's forgotten about. Was under investigation by the DOJ. For that to get set up, the people that have to notarize it, it's not fake, okay? It could be. Other people can say whatever they want. Bloomberg can say whatever they want. Don't believe it. Don't buy it. So I think they're ready to go. Again, I think they're waiting on the reverse carry trade. Here's the other piece of this. It's about timing. They need everything at once to drive the price and the supply shock of XRP up to a price where it's usable to settle stuff. And if they don't correlate that correctly, if somebody jumps the gun or somebody does something and front runs other people, it's not going to get used. It all needs to happen at one time. Coordinated. And again, I'm just a guy. It's my 2 cents. I'm just some guy on the internet. Don't have to listen to me. I don't have a crystal ball. The only thing I can say is, I've said this before. I feel like an Indian on the campground. Some of the chiefs come out of the teepee, or the shamans come out of the teepee, and I have the pleasure of talking to them every once in a while. They don't tell me anything directly, but when you talk to enough of the people that come out of the teepee, you can piece some stuff together. And I've been in sales a long time, fairly decent at reading people. And sometimes I'll just say off the cuff stuff just to see what their visceral response is. Because it's hard to hide your visceral response when somebody says something, right? You're like, you give them a look like, oh, I can't talk about that. And then they divert the conversation. So there's been some of that. There's just been things that have slipped. People have mentioned. Talked to MasterCard and talked to them about Tether and asked them some stuff about XRP. And they were like, yeah, we work with Ripple. And we've looked at XRP, but we don't touch Tether. Yeah, we de-risked from Tether a long time ago. Anyway, so just some stuff in the way that people have said things. So, again, I don't have insider info or specific information. I've just had enough conversations and seen visceral responses and heard a few little snippets from different people. We worked with R3, worked with Ripple, we worked with a lot of parties. We've been really blessed to be in the room and have conversations because of the stuff we're building. And I try to come on here and talk about that. We talk about a lot more of that in the Mastermind than we do here publicly, just so you know. Penniless Josh, what's up, man? He says, is it possible that all the spot ETFs coming this year for XRP will only have inflows from dark pools? That's not how ETFs work. Nope. That's, not possible, Josh. ETFs are publicly traded. And the only way that they would, I guess they could go buy the XRP on the back end through dark pools, but eventually the dark pools are going to run out. Like Kraken and the few other people that provide the dark pools, they're going to run out of XRP in the dark pools, and they're going to have to go to the public exchanges to get the rest of it. I don't know how to impress upon you guys the amount of demand for XRP that's going to happen when it happens. Billions of dollars, billions of XRP, all at the same time between the exchanges, companies, ETFs, settlement piece of it, the FOMO and the demand will be. That's a cool mustache over here on TikTok. I have one, but it was a better one. It's going to be wild, the amount of XRP that's going to be required all at the same time. Teresa has a go. What's up, man? He says, just dropping in to say hi. I want to say thank you and your team. Hope you're well. Like, subscribe, share, people. Join the Mastermind. P.S. Vegas was fun. Awesome, man. It was great to see you there. And I don't ever say that. I don't ever do a good job of promoting that on here. But it really does help the algorithm. If you guys would mind just hitting the thumbs up, liking the channel, subscribing to the channel, sharing it with somebody else if you think this is valuable. We got 1,500 people here on YouTube, almost 1,600 at one point. We got over 200 people over here on TikTok. I don't know how many people are on Instagram and people on X, but again, super grateful that you guys take time out of your Monday evening to hang out with me. Just super humbling. So thank you. And again, you mentioned the mastermind, so I'll throw it out here. We are going to lock it down on the other side of a $10 XRP. So if you want to get in now and lock in your prices, make sure you do it. You can join the mastermind. It's beyondbroke.com. Use the code beyondbroke, all capitalized, the number 1, and then MO. Gets you a free month there in the group. I'm waiting for it to roll across the top here. Here it is, right here. Beyond Broke 1 MO is the code there to get into the group. Social or Carbon 1 locks in prices. You're in. Don't have to worry about it. And Muna and the Juna and the Singa. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm feeling pretty confident that things are lined up here and ready to go. Rock Corp, he says, how do you think the Ukraine attack in Russia will affect things? That was interesting. After they called the ceasefire, and now they're kind of back at that. Russia has oil, right? So that could affect Japan. Japan gets some oil from Russia, but they get the majority of their oil from the Middle East. So again, I think it's a catalyst that could drive the Bank of Japan to raise interest rates because energy prices go up. And that's why you saw the oil stocks go up today. Nicholas, hey man, good to see you. You guys don't know about Nick, but I've known Nick for a long time. He's out here with me, and just super awesome dude. I've known him for almost probably 10 years. It's really cool to see you grow up and become entrepreneurial like you have. He's got his own TikTok channel over here on TikTok. If you guys don't follow Nick Alley, I don't know what his TikTok is. He does timber. Oh man. Anyway, he makes wood chairs and tables, which is super cool. And he has a tree service, which is super awesome. And he's taken a huge amount of market share from people around here in my little town because he does a bunch of stuff on social media. So super cool to see you on here, man. Thank you. He says, became a member of the Beyond Broke Mastermind, just letting entrepreneur XRP brother know about what you do. Thanks, brother. Has always been here for the little guy hustling to get that 50,000 XRP. You're crushing it, dude. Just super proud to see the growth that you've had. So like, it's cool when you see other people winning. And that's the other part of the mastermind that I really enjoy is people enjoy other people winning. Nobody poo-poos on you. You can post cool stuff in there that's happening in your life. This person says, is there a minimum to work with your group? The mastermind, absolutely not. Anybody can come into the mastermind, whether you're small or big, wherever you are in your life, young or old. We actually have a health share that works like insurance for health insurance, but it's not health insurance, it's a health share. They're in the group. So we have health share program for people there in the mastermind. I'm not going to get that anywhere else. We try to provide as much value as we possibly can for those members. And again, you can use the code BeyondBroke, capitalized, the number 1, and then MO gets you a free month there in Carbon 1 and in the social. You lock in the prices and you're in before XRP goes, which could happen soon. So super excited to be working with you, man. Thank you for the shout out, and shout out to you, man. Great success. I love to see it. Let's see. We are at 10:35. We're gonna hang out for another 25 minutes here. We got Sue Crazy Crafter. So Crazy Crafter. What will the entry requirements be to work with UWP after price appreciation? Asking for a friend for the little guy. Thanks for all that you do. I'll probably move to $1 million. Just being candid and honest, because I think XRP is going to go like $50 to $100 first. I think it's going to blow past $10 when it goes, and it'll be $1 million. So if it's $100, it'll be 10,000 XRP. Will kind of be the minimum to work with this on the other side of price appreciation. And again, you might have noticed this is the last $50,000 XRP offer for a reason. XRP's birthday today, but for the next 2 weeks, if you've got 50,000 XRP, we would love to work with you. But on the other side of price appreciation, it'll be $1 million. Will kind of be the minimum for people that we work with, because I think a lot of people are going to have it. Everybody's going to be accredited. We'll throw big parties. We'll go to Monaco on the yacht, do jets. We'll do all the fun stuff. So super excited for that, and we would love to work with you when the price goes up too. So whichever it is. We have Healthy Tech again. What's up, man? Thank you for all the super chats. Appreciate you, man. And I just want to say this. Everybody that does a super chat over here, thank you so much for taking the time and paying the money. If it's $1, $2, $5, whatever it is, just I am blown away that people are willing to do that, and thank you guys so much for doing it. I try to make sure that anybody that pays the money over here, you know, and I know there's people that do it on Facebook and other stuff that are on here. I can't see the Facebook chat. Probably need to figure out how to like pull that in here, do a better job, do better. But YouTube, if you do the super chat, your question will get answered. She says, thanks for all that you do. Can TWP onboard HBAR yet with the rest of the assets and generate the same returns? If not, when? Q3. We'll be able to do it in Q3 in the near future with our checks. That's what we're working on. Rids10 crypto. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry. I said pure legend. What's up, man? He says just shy of 50K mark, unfortunately. Did you say DWP plans in the future to work with folks between 35 and 49K? Your price is going to appreciate, bro. Like if we go to $100 all day long, we would love to have you. You're going to be well over $1 million, and that'll be the minimum. And I'm telling you, like the amount of wealth that you guys are going to come into. I hope that you're ready. Like, and that's really my message about this. Like, please start your financial education. Read. I put up the other thing I was going to say about Zena's account. She asked me about books that I thought were good. So if you guys want to check some of these out, this was written by our CIO. It's Warren Buffett in the Web3 world. Super snackable, short read, little stuff. It's all of his letters, Warren Buffett's letters, but curated toward digital assets. Matt Schneider wrote this. Great book. Go check it out on Amazon. We've also got the Family Office book. This is another great read. If you have the time, if you do plan on having, $20, $50, $100 million, go check it out. Richard C. Wilson wrote this one. I have a call with him tomorrow, which I'm super excited about. Very cool. So this was really good. This is what I use to get my accreditation for the family office stuff. And then lastly, this is another really good one. It's a little bit longer, but if you have the time, Borrowed from Your Grandchildren. Dennis T. Jaffe wrote this book. This is another really good book that talks about legacy wealth, generational wealth, and how to maintain it across generations. So those are my recommendations, along with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon. A lot of mindset stuff. Listen to Jim Rohn if you haven't ever heard of him. Earl Nightingale, also very good. It's what I do in my free time. I listen to a lot of the motivational speakers. I read text and books. The One Thing is what I just finished last week on the planes and everything that I was on. That was super good. So anyway, we have a full book list there in the Mastermind of stuff that you should read or could read if you wanted to. Adam C. Don't tell people what you got, Adam C. He said, I just want to be working to be optional in the next few years, making money further investing. Am I close to my goal? Yeah, dude, you're doing great. You have these positions. I think you're going to crush it. All those assets. HBAR is my second favorite. XLM is definitely up there. We can do custody for XLM also. So XRP and XLM, HBAR is in the near future. All those assets, I think, are going to have crazy price appreciation and benefits over the long term. 3 to 5 years, you're going to crush it, bro. Like, I do not know how to impress upon you. If you can just hammer down and stick to the plan for the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to be set. Bob the Builder, what's up, man? He says, first of all, thank you for your time. Absolutely, man. I love doing this. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else in the world. Is there a particular trust or attorney doesn't understand price appreciation and is stuck on the amount for married couple, 26 million? Most trust attorneys aren't going to believe you when you're like, hey, this is going to appreciate and I'm going to be way over this amount. Like, how do I make sure to mitigate the taxes and structure this properly now and get it in here before this happens? They're going to look at you like you have a third eye, because unless you're working with a CPA that understands digital assets, or a trust attorney that understands digital assets. We've had the pleasure of finding them, and I've been able to like talk to them, cultivate relationships, and explain to them why and how this is going to happen. And they're like, I get it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Aaron up there in Canada, we've got other people in Dubai, we've got people in Portugal, we've got people in Belize, we have people in the Caymans, Bermuda, Cook Islands, Singapore, Switzerland, over there in Australia, a lot of people. So yeah, happy to make introductions here in the US if it makes sense, if you need somebody. And it's 28 million, you get 13.99 per person. So it's like 27.98 million that you can move. It's more than 26. So if they don't even know what the actual gift tax threshold is, you probably should use a different attorney. Win Lambo. Thanks for all that you do, Legend. Right after you buy the car wash to pay for the Lambo, right on the nips. That's when Lambo. Unless it's a Urus, because then you get to ride it off. Nash Vegas, what's up, man? He says, this is your advice for those. What's your advice for those that own between 25 and 50K XRP, increasing 50K from the LLC? ID, a good digital asset firm to help manage. Love the show. Appreciate you. XRP to the moon. Keep buying. Yeah. Maybe set up an LLC, structure things, make sure that you're in position. Start financially educating yourself, making sure that you understand what's happening and how to use the different tools that are going to be at your disposal on the other side of price appreciation. Again, like, we've set this up where it economically makes sense now. I wish I could take everybody. Honestly, I really do. And we will be able to as price appreciates. I'm telling you. Over the next 3 years, I think the entire XRP family will be able to work with us. And the other piece is, like, I got to walk a line. So here's the real truth. I have so many people, and if we just opened it up to everybody, I don't have the personnel to be able to help everybody. And we have to be able to generate enough income to be able to pay salaries and do the overhead. And right now, if we're charging 2% on people's accounts that have $10,000 in them, that's not fair to you. I'm going to rake you for a bunch of XRP that you could just be keeping in a cold wallet. And, like, it's not that you don't need the institutional custody, but you don't need it yet. There's the value proposition just isn't there yet. And that's where we have to be in order to be able to make money to cover all the expenses and stuff that we have. So anyway, I hope people can see that. I really do want to build this out in a way where we're able to help everybody. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, like, we'll use Tesla as an example. They started with the Roadster. It was their most expensive car. They were able to get the most margin, most traction in the market, biggest marketing, all the stuff. They were able to build that out and create all the systems and processes with that one car. And then they expanded their other stuff down to something that's affordable for everybody, right? So I take a playbook from the people that are smarter than me, the other billionaires that I aspire to be like. And they start with the high-end stuff, and then they work their way down to be able to help work with everybody. And that's just how you're able to go to market and get things across the line. Like, Walmart didn't start at one store with low margins, but they operate with low margins now because they play a volume game, right? They operate on 15 to 17% margins across their stores. But they're also, what's the deal? Consignment. They don't buy anything. All of their vendors come in and put the stuff on the shelves, and they don't pay for it until you pay for it. And that's the other reason they're able to lower the cost for everybody like they are. So anyway, it's capitalism, it's economics. It's the way I want to, have to be able to do it in order to be able to get to the end goal, which is to be able to help everybody. Man, we're way up in the chat here, and I've only got 15 minutes yet, so we're gonna lightning round the last super chats here. We got Casey Wilson. He says, I have a price of $10 XRP before I stop buying. You have mentioned its price will hit 50. What's the next coin we should take a look at? I like Hash. I bought some Hash. I like HBAR. I like XLM. I think those will still be opportunities on the other side of price appreciation for XRP. I'm going to be looking at DPIN networks. I think are going to be interesting. DAG's a huge opportunity. We just launched our master node over there on DAG's network. It's like 4 or 5 cents right now. We met Ben Jorgensen. He was at our event. The Metagraphs and the Meta Oracle that they're launching, I think, is bar none, like for the insurance agencies and everything else that they're going to be doing, competing against Chainlink for middle market, Panasonic, and government. Huge. IOTA is another interesting one. Maybe Quant. We'll see. Other people are really bullish on Quant. I made a bunch of money on Quant already. XDC, huge opportunity. Even where it's at now, I think it could go to $3 to $5, maybe $10. Yeah, all those things on the other side of price appreciation. I'll diversify. When XRP gets to $1,000, I'm going to be diversifying out of XRP and looking at other opportunities, because at that point, even 10,000 XRP is 10x. And I think there's going to be other things that will be 100x opportunities or 1,000x opportunities that are addressing other needs in the market, right? I'm here for ROI. That's what I'm here for. I've said that from the jump. Hopefully you guys can tell that. I'm consolidated in one position now because I'm highly confident that that was going to pay out exponentially. And then we will, diversify the portfolio with loans against the XRP to be able to generate returns across these other assets while the XRP is generating returns. Let's go on down to the super chat. We got Sean Sides. What's up, man? Hey, good to see you. He says, found you in XRP in January. Got my bag just shy of 50 and buying when possible, including today. Today was a good day. But holding the assets total, you say, would I qualify for the growth fund once 3 to 4 digits? Yeah, absolutely, dude. If you, like I said, over $1 million, everybody will be accredited. XRP, $50, $100. I think the majority of the XRP community is going to qualify for all the opportunities that we have. And again, we're rolling out opportunities in the near to short term that anybody will be able to make money with us, even if you're not accredited. Another super chat. He said, thank you for all the work that you do and the info that you bring. Your energy, your excitement is contagious. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I try to hold a high vibration for you guys. I'm very tired at the end of the day sometimes, but it's worth it. I love this experience, and I get a lot of fulfillment from the questions and being able to do this for y'all, and for myself, right? Selfish too. Lesku says, what's your thoughts on Ripple pairing up with Dubai tokenizing $600 trillion on the XRP? I don't know if it was that much, but it's a lot of real estate, like a lot of real estate over there in Dubai. Huge. Like, I do not think people comprehend what's about to happen on the XRPL and the adoption that we're about to see, especially from the Middle East, like Dubai and the UAE. But there's a lot of money there. I've been to Dubai twice. The size of everything there, like if you haven't ever been, I encourage you to go. Definitely put it on the bucket list. It's kind of synthetic feeling almost. Not almost, it really does feel synthetic because it is. But like, imagine Texas, New York, and Vegas on steroids. Like, that's what Dubai feels like. The billboards are gigantic. All the buildings are larger than life. When you look at the Burj Khalifa, you look straight up. Like, there's no other way to look at the top of it. Anywhere where you're at, you're looking straight up to see the top of the Burj Khalifa. It is, I like the Tower of Babylon. It's the only way I can explain it. It is so high up in the sky. On my bucket list, and you guys might try this too, it's like $300 to go to the top of it. I want to sunset from the ground and then go to the top of it and watch the same sunset again. That's how tall it is. Shade Spot, what's up, man? He says, hey, mate, few people speak with the depth of knowledge that you do. Thank you, man. Thank you for the kind words. But this guy, Jesse, on YouTube does, and he's adamant that Quant is the chosen one over Ledger. Is he wrong? Look, here's the deal. Over Ledger is going to be used, for sure. For sure going to be used. The problem is that Quant doesn't move the money on Overledger. You just pay in Quant to use Overledger. So it doesn't have the same value proposition that XRP does. Quant is not moving the money. It is just to pay the fees to participate on the network. XRP does both. You pay the fees in XRP to participate on the network, and you have to use XRP. There's volume in XRP to move the value. So would love to hear his side of the story. Again, I could be ignorant. This is just my understanding of it. Not saying I'm the end all be all or know everything. I know what I know. And I've also talked to government agencies and entities and enterprises and MasterCard and Visa, and they've never said quant not one time. So that's the other thing for me. Like, I like to hear it from the horse's mouth. A lot of people do a lot of research online and like circle jerk about stuff. It's not my game. I would rather just go ask the actual corporations that are using this stuff and be like, hey, like, which one of these are you using? And then they'll tell you if you're actually going to build something with them and create value. So Echo says, what's your opinion on iTrust and their use of Fireblocks? Here, a couple of things. Fireblocks is not insured. It is insured, but it's insured on the infrastructure. It's not insurance on your assets. It does not have crime insurance. If they're hacked, you lost it. It's gone. It's gone. There's no recourse. It's not bankruptcy remote. They do have your stuff in segregated wallets, which is cool. You know, it is using MPC technology, which does not meet the regulations here in the U.S. for IPFS. So it doesn't meet the requirements for an institutional custodian. They are not licensed as an institutional custodian. They don't have insurance on your assets. It's not bankruptcy remote. It's not segregated. Well, it's probably segregated. It is segregated. So that's the only benefit you get with it. They can't earn returns on your assets, which we're about to be able to bring to market. We've had probably $30 million worth of XRP and XLM move over to us from iTrust, if that tells you anything, at Anchorage. And again, if, you know, Fireblocks was the best thing out there, why wouldn't BlackRock use them for their custody instead of Anchorage? They're not. They're using Anchorage. So not to poo-poo. Fireblocks is great, but they're not. Caleb Brown uses Fireblocks. Also not. It's good. It's good. It's not the best. I'm here for the best. So. Shade Spot with the super chat again. Thank you, man. He says, in 1933, they made gold illegal to reprice it. If XRP is for institutions, what's stopping them from doing the same, hacking wallets or whatever? Why wouldn't they? What could we do? One, they can't freeze XRP. The initial account's been black holed. They can't do anything to really take the XRP from you. They can't make it illegal. It's an open, decentralized technology. They can't remove your ability to access your wallet or do stuff with it. There's not a way for them to do that with this. It's a really good question, but there's not a way that they could do it. And you've heard David Schwartz say this. So what if a few people get rich? They're not going to reprice XRP. I know a lot of people have said stupid stuff like that. They're going to drive the price up with a supply shock through the means that I've talked about. Then they're going to use it to start settling transactions across these networks and using the decentralized ledger and the mainnet between these siloed ecosystems. And that's going to maintain the price. Retail might own like 2 billion XRP. They don't care. They don't need our XRP. They got Ripple's XRP. They got their own XRP. They don't care about retail. And that's very evident by the bank's inability to set anything up for the FBO accounts. They don't care about us. The only people that care about us is us. And that's why we got to stick together. And that's why I built what I built with my team. That's why we built what we built. So yeah, they can't do any of that. They can't take it from you. They can't make it illegal. Otherwise, they'd make it illegal for the banks and the other people also. And you're going to be an institution because you're going to set up an LLC and you're going to be operating on the same level that they are. And Anchorage only works with institutions and enterprises. And that's why you're going to set up a corporation. So they made it illegal for individuals to hold gold. And again, there's a lot of reasons I try to help people set up a corporation to manage this stuff. Just putting that out there. Let's see here. A couple more, and then we'll shut it down. We got 4 minutes here. The abrasive unit. As I'm sure Tao has touched this before, but can you please explain the reverse carry trade, what it is? So tens of trillions of dollars, like a lot of money, like a lot of money has been borrowed from the Bank of Japan over the past 2 decades at low and negative interest rates at some points. Now they've raised the interest rates aggressively. So people are having to refinance that debt, and the trades that they put that money into sometimes don't work anymore. They've got to unwind those. They've got to sell off their positions. And if the interest rates continue to escalate very quickly and the yen appreciates against the dollar rapidly, there's a conversion rate from the yen back to, or from the dollar back to the yen, which is going to be more expensive. Plus, the interest rates are higher for when they refinance a loan. So it causes people to sell off their positions globally. There's going to be basically a global margin call, is what it ends up being. We got SAE. They say, hey, Jake, do you think we see 4 digits soon or Q4? Q4. I think Q4 on the 4 digits. I think $50 to $100 in the near future is my deal. Maybe it's sooner. Maybe we do see it sooner. Mate asked, why does the price need to be high? I said for liquidity due to scarcity when everything's tokenized, but I couldn't explain why it goes to 100, 1,000, 2,000 just as a bridge asset. Who's bidding it higher? So the total, this is the problem. People look at total supply versus actual liquid supply for moving value. So there might be 10 billion XRP available to move value. And so if you have, $5 trillion moving across the SWIFT system, you've got another 6.5 trillion moving across commodities. You've got another 6.5 trillion settling through FX. You've got the back end of the stock market, which settles about 6 or 7 trillion a day. That's a lot of volume for 10 billion XRP. And it needs to be 4 digits in order to support the settlement of all that. You can just do the math on it. And you might say, well, you can use the same XRP multiple times a day. You're absolutely right. Go ahead and pull up Robbie Mitchnick's calculator and run it down. And it'll show you how it needs to be $10,000 in order to support that amount of volume, even if it is being used 10 times a day. So, and for those that don't know, Robbie Mitchnick is the head of digital assets at BlackRock. He used to work at Ripple for about a couple of years, and then he took that off his LinkedIn after he moved over to BlackRock. Why would he do that? Rob says, oh, Mandy, you came and gave without taking. Barry Manilow. Yeah, that's good. I'll have to sing that later. We got MDF. They say, it was great. See you take the time to engage with everyone in Las Vegas. Maybe next roof party, we will see the Beyond Broke ad on the Sphere. Yes, I saw the donuts. You know how much the Sphere is? It's $500,000 or $600,000 to get the advertisement on the Sphere. It was not that expensive for the Times Square deal, just so you're aware. It did cost, but I felt like it was worth it. So, yeah, not $500,000 or $600,000. We got to be doing a lot better. Maybe on the other side of price appreciation, we'll throw down for the Sphere, but we're not there yet. But you did say the next one, so very well could be. Appreciate you in the mastermind. Will your average person know about XRP after it becomes its use case? Post-crash thoughts, stable versus GeniusAct. I think you'll have a period of time where people revel in it, and people are pissed off, especially Bitcoin people. Feel like they've been hoodwinked, which they kind of have. But I think that'll wear off, a decade from now. I don't think even anybody will even think about it. There'll be people that made a lot of money. I don't know if you've ever watched XRPP's channel, but I would go check it out on YouTube. He's got some really old videos on there. And there's one about an old man, that goes into the coffee shop and talks to this boy and the coffee shop owner, the woman. And they don't even know about XRP. They just know he came to the town and set up this healing center and was helping a bunch of people. And he gave him a couple drops at the end of it that were worth $10,000 a piece. So pretty cool. We got C. Joyce. They say, what would be the main benefit of opening a specific LLC for crypto if you already have an LLC for another business? Separate liability. So you're traditionally, your whatever business you're doing, providing a service or product, you're going to have some liability with that, especially if you're doing construction or real estate or really anything. Somebody could sue you, and you can absolutely have, whatever digital assets is your treasury. But if they do pierce the corporate veil, which most people don't keep good meeting minutes and do all the stuff that they need to maintain a corporate veil. And if it's not in Nevada or Wyoming, you're going to be much more susceptible to more than a charging order. People are going to be able to pierce it and take your stuff. Again, that's why we set things up in Wyoming and do all the stuff that we do in a specific manner. But you absolutely could. I would consult with an attorney before you did that, and they're likely going to tell you to segregate it out. just to limit liability and loss. We got Jack Gold. What's up, man? He says, hey, Jake, I hold Velo. Cool. 23 billion supply. Much likely locked and used. It's the use case. It's good long-term investment. Can it hit $1 to $100 in a few years? Utility and growth. Think about 50% of long-term bag. Maybe. Velo, like, all of these are like lesser use cases. Stronghold, Velo, Zbec. Like, these are specific niche use cases on top of Hyperledger, the XRPL. They're use cases. They're great, but there's a much smaller total addressable market for those. That's still a pretty big supply. I don't know that you could see a $1 to $100 Velo, maybe like a $5 Velo, $10 Velo, sure. $100 Velo, probably not. And I would love to be wrong on that because I know a lot of people that hold a bunch of that token. So again, I'm just a guy. These are just my opinions. I would love to be wrong. I want people to make as much money as possible. Can you make a domino theory right now about 3 to 5 other coins with good use cases? No. There's no other coins that would have anything similar to XRP for domino theory. Omega Man. Hi, Jake. Thank you for the whole running hard. For all those opportunities, the Mastermind and Beyond Broke and DWP in the last 3 years, first of its kind. My group number when I joined was 767 in 2024. Wow. Now 2K plus 3 parts. Yeah, it's wild, man. To see the growth over the last couple of months, it's just been crazy. Super blessed and excited to have so many good people in the community. We're going to lock it down on the other side of price appreciation. So if you want in now, now's the time to get in. You can just join the community. Here it is right here. Beyond Broke, all capitalized, the #1, and then the MO gets you a free month there in the group for both social and Carbon One. I'm running out of gas here, and it's almost time to shut her down. But I'm going to try to make it through all the super chats. Man, you guys are awesome with the super chats. Again, hey, Jake, similar experience with consensus. So contacted Tax on Chain, another recommendation, and found experts that oppose, opposite of Nick and Matt, understand interesting space, just not the laws. Yeah, I met those guys. They seemed real crypto bro when I talked to them. They seem good on the accounting side, but not so great on the tax advice. So that's the problem, man. Like, it's hard to find good quality people across the world that have, like, I'm weird. I'm really weird in that I understand the technology and I'm like the progressive. I want all this to happen, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, it needs to be regulated. And there's certain stuff that actually has to like work, and you got to be the conduit in the middle. Most people are on either side. Like, they either understand the tax law and this stuff really well, and they don't want to deal with crypto at all, or the people that do want to deal with crypto are like crypto bro and they don't think that shit matters. Excuse my French. So I know, man. Maybe we're gonna have to come to Australia. We'll have to come to Australia. I'm XRP'd. He says, Jake, hypothetically speaking, as a California resident, is it possible for a Wyoming LLC to fly under the radar for Californians? No. We have to file reciprocity with California. Just get out of California, man. I know you probably have family there. I know you've got a lot tying you down. You maybe have real estate and other stuff. You might really like where you live. You might live in Napa Valley. There's a few places in California that are beautiful. The weather's great, and it's super expensive to live there. And the tax man's going to get you. If you're in Cali, tax man's going to get you. We can't circumvent that. We got David. He says, can pre-tax money in retirement accounts count toward the accreditation, such as 401k? Yes, they absolutely can. We would love to write the letter for you. We got Omega Man. He says, my Alto Roth IRA doesn't allow in-kind transfer. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All you got to do is tell them we take in-kind transfer. We are the only people that take in-kind transfer. So reach out to them and tell them you want to do in-kind transfer, and we will be able to do it. Don't tell them that you're not selling it, that you're going to send it in-kind. USD to Anchorage. Oh, man, you already did it. Once that repurchase my 4 XRP with Roth, 820 if I never sell. My RA purchase of XRP for my Roth account, 8%, 20 if I never sell. If you're under the qualified client, so if you move assets over and you're under 1.1 million, we don't get any performance fees, and that's grandfathered in. We're never going to take them. So if you're less than 1.1 million and we execute a buy order for you, you don't have to worry about it. Sun says, what are the chances XRP flips Bitcoin? I think it's highly likely. I think it's inevitable. We got Gavin Mason. He says, Caleb and Brown connected, and if not, who in Australia do you work with? We definitely don't work with Caleb and Brown. We've severed that relationship. They don't provide institutional custody, to my definition of institutional custody. We provide institutional custody and all the benefits for Australians. All you have to do is have your assets in a self-managed super fund, in a family trust or a corporation there in Australia, and we're happy to work with you on your assets to be able to generate returns, borrow against it, and provide institutional custody, real institutional custody for you and your family. Jeremiah says, about time to log off and go lift. I already lifted, dude. I hit legs. I did squats, supersetted with lunges, and then we did leg extensions, supersetted with leg curls. Did 225 for 100, and then did lunges with 30-pound dumbbells back and forth, because I only had like 45 minutes, and then I went and did 100 of both on the other side. So, running it down, trying to make it happen with limited time. So that's it. We're going to wrap it up tonight. Sorry I didn't get to a bunch of stuff over here on TikTok. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Appreciate you guys here on YouTube as well. Awesome to see everybody in Vegas. Again, if you do want to set up that LLC, you can use the code the LLC is at digitalfamilyoffice.io. Use the code 50OFF, 50OFF, LLC. Get you everything you need for your LLC to manage your digital assets. If you are going to take advantage of the 50K promo with Digital Wealth Partners in the next 2 weeks, please go to digitalwealthpartners.net and fill out the contact us form. You do need to have your assets on board in the next 30 days from when you sign the contract. It's $1,000 onboarding fee there. And then last but not least, Living Legacy has been nice enough to put this here. So it is 50 off DAG LLC for the LLC. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Good looking out. And then he's also put the Mastermind code here for you guys. He's one of our moderators in the Mastermind. Love him to death. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you and all your help, man. I know it's late there. Thank you for staying up. So Beyond Broke, all capitalized, number 1, and then MO gets you a free month there in the group at Social and Carbon One. If you want to borrow against your assets, if you want to participate in private equity, the deals that we run there in the group, Carbon One is the place to be, and you're going to lock it in before price appreciation. With that, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week, and we'll see you guys on the next one.